Hello everyone and welcome to Kyoto for the third round of the ALR Esports series. My name's Nathan, your commentator for this evening, bringing you all the live action from Japan. This is Lobby B. Of course, Lobby A will be getting underway at the same time as us before we do. We've got 10 minutes to, a couple of minutes actually, before we start the 10-minute qualifying session. We've got 4 teams in this lobby, the other 4 are in Lobby A, of course. We've got 12 drivers, 3 of which representing each team, which we will run through soon enough. As I just get my last minute preparations for the stream. And how is the audio? Hopefully it's sounding okay for everyone watching at home. Someone says it's all good. We've got all 12 drivers in the lobby at the minute, but we'll let them do their practice laps before we get started. It's a night race tonight, so the track temperature will be lower. Tyres are going to be cold. We might see a couple more mistakes here at this twisty technical circuit. It's the Yamagiwa section of the Kyoto driving park. We're not going to the Miyabi part that's is located between turn 8 and 9, is where the kind of cut-off bit. We turn left there rather than right for this 4.9 kilometer circuit. 15 corners and roughly 300 meters from pole down towards the first corner. It's not the longest run, but it certainly isn't the shortest. We could see a couple of moves down there tonight. Tyre wear, we expect it to be quite high here at this circuit, especially to the front right. If you look at the mini map on the in the middle of the screen, you've got turn 1 and turn 6, 2 long left-hand corners that really wear down the right-hand tyres, and heavy braking zones, downhill braking zones, like the turn 8, 9 and 10 chicane. 13 and 14 as well, the final 2 corners of the circuit. Beginning really does wear the front tyres. Hello to everyone joining in the chat. We are ready to start soon. As we put the message in to alert the drivers, we are ready to start. And we can go at 10 past on the dot. It's not. It's quite unusual for me over the years that I've hosted lobbies to start directly on the mark that we're supposed to start. But today we are rather pressed against time, starting a little bit later than usual. And well, we can get started. I'm going to start at 10 on the dot. Well, I'll press start qualifying on the dot. And then we'll have to wait another 10 seconds. Someone has just backed out of qualifying at the last second, which is less than ideal. We will give the benefit of the doubt and restart the lobby. If everyone backs out relatively quickly, then we can restart. People were starting to leave the room. I don't think they're aware that you can just back out of qualifying. If we will just cancel the entry to any drivers watching the stream, we're just waiting on 5 to cancel entry. And then we can end qualifying starts again. An unfortunate delay to the start of qualifying, just as we thought we were going to start on time. Everyone's joining back quickly, just waiting for 2 drivers to cancel their entry. Okay, let's try and talk a little bit about Kyoto whilst we wait. We've got 15 corners around this 4.9 kilometre circuit. We are just waiting for Fracas to cancel his entry. There we go. Everyone's going to ready up once again, and we will start as soon as possible. One driver didn't enter the race. They backed out literally the second I pressed start qualifying. And as Fracas rejoins, we'll be able to start. So we're just waiting for Fracas to enter the race, and then we can get qualifying underway. 10 minutes qualifying session. The fastest 14 drivers who made it into Lobby A, and the slowest 10 will be in Lobby B. And so everyone is out on track. They're all ready to go, all 12 drivers. Let's not waste any time. Let's go. And so we get the qualifying underway here in Lobby B. Let's get all the graphics and info up on the screen. Everyone on the soft compound tyres, of course. These are the quickest laps that we will see in qualifying. We might see some quicker laps in the race as the fuel begins to go down. And so, who have we got out on track? Well, my computer will turn on. I can tell you without having to flick through all 12 drivers. And so we have 4 teams in Lobby A, 4 teams in Lobby B. Tonight in Lobby B we have Aero, GT, Apex, Pegasus and Misfits. Of course, we'll go through the driver lineups as well. Aero, GT, Fielding, Iggy, Kyoto and Owen for this week's race. Pegasus have got Mortal Velas, Whack Jumps and Astro back in for Kyoto. Misfit Motorsports have Lord Hands, Fracas and I2 Points racing for them this evening. And of course Apex have Hollywood, Latari and Thunderdome. The drivers are quite close together here out on the circuit at the minute. They may start to impede each other, but a couple of them slowing down in the final sector to give each other a bit of space. Someone has spun in the background through the chicane. I think that's whoever's in the pits just leaving now. It's Mortal Velas who's making his way through turn 1. Whack rounds the final corner and will be the first driver to will start a lap time here at Kyoto under the night sky. Start finish straight lit with the Kyoto Driving Park logo above the start-finish line. Wack making his way through the long swooping left-hander down at turn 1, climbing up the hill through the S's section into turn 2, 3, 4 and 5. A very tricky sequence of corners that could be taken flat out, I believe, in these cars, but of course create extra stress to the tyres. You can see the front brakes glowing red hot as he rides the inside curb. Dip to wheel on the grass as well. It's a 40.8 through the second sector. There are 4 sectors here at Kyoto. He's making his way through sector 3. Sparks flying from underneath that McLaren as he rides the first chicane down at turn 8 in towards turn 12. The slowest of the first of the 2 slow hairpins here at Kyoto, taken at about 2nd or 3rd gear. He now makes his way down the hill for the first time at full speed in towards the left-hander, the right-hander of 13, the left-hander of turn 14. Brings the car back over to the left-hand side of the circuit for the final corner. It's really easy to put the power down a bit too soon, open up the steering wheel and run wide into the grass on the outside, but it looks like he's kept it clean on this lap. It's a long run up to the line, and will set the benchmark of a 34.8. Kito beats it by a second, and Fracas swaps in between the two. Astroff goes to 3rd place as Iggy goes to provisional pole position. Latari on 8th on the circuit will move up to 2nd place, 6/10 behind Iggy as Thunderdome with a 35.2 goes into 7th. Behind them a couple of cars coming into the pits. Mortal Vella's also on a flying lap, having started a lot later. A massive snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 6 and is purple through the 2nd sector. The Dutchman flying through the middle part of the lap. How does he negotiate the hairpin? Late on the brakes, you can see the brake discs lava hot on those front tyres. Another snap of oversteer on the exit of the corner, but he's nearly 3/10 up through sector 3. This could be a great lap for Mortal Velas and the Pegasus team to promote them for a spot in Lobby A. He rounds the final corner on his first flying lap. The Nissan GTR running in 9th on the road, hasn't quite set a lap just yet, but could go to the provisional pole with this attempt. Indeed he does, by nearly 3.5 tenths. It's the 32.7 and the new fastest lap here in Lobby B. Wack up to the line, does improve, goes up into 5th. Kito improves but not on his position. Astro in 6th, he doesn't improve. Behind him Iggy doesn't improve either. What about points going up to the line? Does he improve? He does, but stays in 9th place. And also rounding the final corner is Anomina, but on an outlap and preparing for his first flying lap of the session. We are over 5 minutes in and over the halfway stage here in this 10-minute qualifying session. The drivers have begun to space themselves out around the circuit and have clean air to work with. The slipstream will be effective, but only really down the start-finish straight. Otherwise you're getting the dirty air up the hill through the S's and then the long swooping left-hander of turn 6. And so unless the teams orchestrate something, you don't really want to be following another car too closely. I don't think Mortal Velas will be improving on this lap. He's nearly 2 seconds slower than his personal best. I think we might see a couple of drivers come into the pits at the end of this lap. The tyres are only really good enough for 1, maybe 2 laps here. The tyre wear is high, and I think we will see a lot of the medium and the hard compound tyres come the race. There's a pack of cars in the middle I'm trying to find going through turn 8, but it's absolutely hopeless. I think I've pressed every number, can't quite find them. There we go. It's Thunderdome and I think Astroff in front of him on the track. They're on outlaps, they've just pitted, and we'll be looking to go faster this time around. Astroff on an outlap, as is Latari. And so a couple of drivers in the pits, a couple of drivers on outlaps, a couple of drivers making their way into the pits, as point actually does improve with a 36.4 But that is still 4 seconds off the provisional pole time. Bit of traffic down towards turn 1. Anomina goes up into second place with a 1 minute 33 as Vatari crosses the start-finish line to start his second flying lap attempt for the Apex team. The South African making his way through turn 1 ahead of Astroff behind him on the racetrack, and I think it's another Apex driver, Thunderdome or Hollywood, that's making their way up the hill through the first sector behind them as well. Well, it's not Hollywood, he's just set a 35.2, but isn't good enough to make his side inside the top 8. Vatari negotiating turn 6. We're going to stay on board with the M6. Now driving on board in the cockpit of the BMW, improving by a 10.5 through sector 2. Deciding to use a bit of a curb on the inside. You can afford to go 2 wheels over on the inside curb and get away with track limits. Into the corner where the BMW will probably suffer the most. Its low speed cornering isn't favoured among some of the other cars on the circuit, but he is improving by nearly 2.5 tenths through sector 3. He needs to find a couple more to make to find himself improving his position. Currently in 4th place, rounding the final corner. We'll stay on board with the Vatari to see if he can move himself into the top 3. He's got Astroff behind him on the racetrack in the start-finish straight. Does he improve in his lap time? He does, but not his position. Astroff goes up into 4th, knocks Vatari down to 5th. Thunderdome goes into 7th place with a 34.0, but still 1.3 seconds off of the fastest time. Kyoto goes up into 6th place with his last attempt. What about Abe Hollywood? Does he improve? He does by 1.3 seconds, goes up into 7th place, demotes his teammate down by a position and nominated on an out lap. He will get time to finish this lap with only a minute left in qualifying. Our current fastest driver on the track, Mortal Velas, is improving by half a tenth through sector 3, through the tricky turn 13-14 chicane. He's got 1 corner to go to extend his advantage at the front. Currently his fastest time is 1:32.732. Keeps it nice and close to the pit wall. Does he improve? Yes, he does. He does by a tenth. It's a 32.7. Extends that gap to a Nomina behind, who is on a flying lap. We've got 10 seconds left of qualifying. Drivers rounding the final corner. Wack and Fracas will be the next drivers to set a lap time. Wack not improving. Fracas not improving. Oh no, does improve. 34.4. Iggy doesn't go quicker. Thunderdome doesn't improve. His qualifying's over in 8th place. Someone's coming up to the line. It's Kyoto. Does he improve? He doesn't improve. What about Lord Hands rounding the final corner? Looks like he might be improving. He does by a 10.5, but it's only good enough for 11th place. Mortal Velas qualifying's over. He's in the pit. Can Anomina knock him off pole position or improve to get himself into lobby A? Up to the line, he doesn't improve. He's nearly a second off the pace. Hollywood ends the session without an improvement either. Final 2 drivers on a lap. Wack jumps in 9th. I think it's Thunderdome behind him, also on a lap. The Brit isn't improving. He's 3 tenths down. It's going to have to be an impressive final sector in order to improve. He just needs to find 200ths over Thunderdome, but 3 tenths on this current lap. But rounding the final corner, is the Brits going to improve? It's a long run up to the line. You can see Fracas in the background drifting through the final corner. Wack jumps doesn't improve, but he did find a 1/10 of a second. Fracas is weaving across the line. He won't be improving. And we'll finish this session 10th fastest. But it's Mortal Velas with the fastest time of a 1:32.6. And so whilst we wait for the clock to tick down, because Mortal Velis is sat in the pits, he set the fastest time with a 32.6, 4/10 quicker than Anomina with a 1:30.30. Iggy only 4,000 slower. Astro 400 slower. So the slowest time in Lobby A is a 33.1. That cutoff here is Astroff, who has gone nearly the exact same time as the slowest in Lobby A. So this could be, once again, very close. We could see for the second week in a row, less than a tenth of a second separating, making it into Lobby A or Lobby B. And so we'll have to wait and see when the clock strikes 0 in 5 seconds. But Astro, for the second week in a row, might miss out on Lobby A by 100th of a second. And there is the top 8. Mortal Velis with a 32.6. That I think will be good enough for Lobby A. 33.0 from Anomina will be good enough as well. And I think Iggy's also qualified. But I think it could be close with Astrov. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. I think a 33.4 from Natari might just be pole for Lobby B. And then behind him, Kyoto in 6th, Hollywood in 7th, and Thunderdome in 8th. 4/10 separating those drivers. This could be quite close between those in the top 4. Not too sure where the cutoff will be. And that gap between Iggy and Anomina, 4 thousandths as well. That could be very close. A 31.8 was the fastest time in Lobby A. Jensen beating Aura by 500ths of a second. Miles making it an FGR 2.3. Time by Mortal Velis, not good enough to put him in the top 8 in Lobby A, but it could be close for getting him into the top 10. And there is the bottom half of the grid. Whack Jumps in 9th, Fracas in 10th, Lord Hounds in 11th, and I2.OG in 12th. And quite the way off the pole time in Lobby B, nearly 4 seconds slower than Mortal Velis. It could be a tough race for the Misfit drivers. They look to secure the bottom 3 slots in Lobby B for what I think could be the 3rd week in a row. Tough time out last week in Blue Moon Bay, infield A. And so for those of you who are new to the ALR Esports series and are wondering what's going on, we've got 8 teams composed that field 3 drivers each week, and they're split into Lobby A and Lobby B. For qualifying, we put 4 of the teams in Lobby A, the other 4 in Lobby B. And the fastest 14 drivers across both lobbies go into Lobby A, and the slowest 10 for this season are in Lobby B. There are more points up for grabs in Lobby A than Lobby B, and so it's vital that you get as many drivers as you can into Lobby A. But of course, if you do not make it into Lobby B, it's important to score as many points in Lobby B for those teammates that might have made it into Lobby A. We can talk a little bit about this circuit, the Kyoto Driving Park, which first appeared in Gran Turismo Sport. 3 miles, 4.9 kilometers, an original tarmac circuit with several different variations of the tracks. Of course, the Yamagiwa circuit, which we are racing at tonight, the Miyabi track, and of course the Kyoto, Yamagiwa, and Miyabi circuits, which is the longest of the layouts that we can race here. I think it's been a while, a couple of seasons since we've been to the extended version of Kyoto. The Miyabi circuit just adding a little bit more tyre wear, adds another long swooping left-hander to destroy the front right, and it's a track of great elevation and mostly high speed, but also does contain its complex corners, such as the ascending 5-corner sequence in the first sector. Offers plenty of racing times of day, of course dawn, morning, afternoon and at night, which you are racing at tonight as the qualifying grids are in. So what do we have? We have Jensen on pole in lobby A, and Iggy just made it into lobby B. And so the grid in lobby B looks like this. I will try my best to talk over the grid as I set up the race. Before I do, I need to make sure I get the settings correct. Otherwise, I will probably get shouted at. 41 laps at night times 1. Grid set by the host. Everything should be correct. And so, having done that, how does our grid look for today's race? Skyline is on pole position by 0.07 of a second ahead of Astro in second place. On the second row of the grid, Latari ahead of Kyoto. Hollywood Thunderdome make it in Apex 5-6 on the third row of the grid. Whack in 7th ahead of the Misfits drivers. Fracas ahead of Lord Hands, and points in 10th place. And when Latari enters the lobby, we can begin to set the grid. There we go. I've lost the grid. There we go. So just to run it through you one more time as I set it up. I'm terrible at doing this. Skyline's on pole position. His time was a 1:33.1, and he was 0.07 quicker than Astro, who joins him on the front row of the grid. It's Latari in third, ahead of Kyoto in fourth, only 0.3 of a second separating them. 1/10 of a second between the Apex drivers. It's Hollywood ahead of Thunderdome. Whack in 7th place, Fracas in 8th, Lord Hands in 9th, and I2 Point in 10th place. Just making sure that Hollywood is ready. He gave the old BRB, the be right back. Oh, he did leave the room actually, so I think that's what he was indicating. I think everyone should be ready, but a little bit of story time for you, ladies and gentlemen. I was doing commentary elsewhere, and I think the entire lobby needed a toilet break after qualifying. It was unbelievable. I had to sit there for 5-10 minutes, try and save as many facts, as much waffle as I could, whilst we waited for 16 drivers to come back from a toilet break. 14 drivers, sorry. Unbelievable. But anyway, I think these drivers are capable of holding their bladders after the qualifying, because I believe we are ready to start soon. We will just make sure everyone's ready, because we don't want to start without someone. That would be terrible. And so the grid is set on the right hand side of your screen. So let's wish the drivers good luck. Let's have a good race, and we will begin this race here at round 3 of the ALI Esports League here at Kyoto, Yamagiwa. It's not looking good. I've used all my water before the 5 red lights have even turned on. But we are ready to go racing here at Kyoto. Drivers on the grid, sat and poised with their eyes on the lights as we build to the 5 red lights here at Kyoto. And we go racing here at the Kyoto driving park for the Yamagiwa configuration. Skyline leads the field away from pole position, and it's a good start ahead of Astroff in second, who has Kito on the inside down towards the first corner but isn't quite close enough to send it. Hollywood on the inside of his teammate Latari as Apex round out 4th, 5th and 6th at the start of the race, but a great start from Skyline. Leaves the field up the hill through turns 3, 4 and 5 here at the night sky, under the night sky at Kyoto. Astro under pressure from Kito, who dives it down the inside. Contact between the two drivers through turn 6. Astro one's right, he's in the grass, rejoins ahead of Hollywood, but he's gone from one barrier to the other. Drops down the field like a stone into 7th, maybe 8th, down towards turn 8. For the first time he's on the inside and ahead of Fracas, who stays in 8th place for now, but a disaster from the Brit, who was once on the front row of the grid, but Kito made the move. But a bit of contact between the two through the hairpin we go for the first time this evening. That's Hollywood on the inside of this team, I think, or maybe that was Vitari on the inside of Thunderdome actually, I'm not too sure which way it was round. But back up into 6th place as Astro looks to try and make his way through the field. We've got 41 laps of Kyoto. Some drivers, I think, opting for different tyre compounds early on in the race. As someone, I think, has lost a couple of positions. No, that's just me going insane. The Skyline ends lap 1, starts lap 2 in the lead of this race. Heather Kito in second, and Hollywood is your top 3. The Apex drivers running in 3rd, 4th and 5th now at the start of this race as Astro moves his way up into 6th place and demotes Whack back down into 7th place from where he started, but Astro looking to try and now recover his way through the field on those soft compound tyres. How quickly will he get past the Apex drivers? How aggressive will he be in getting past these drivers? He's already looking on the inside of Thunderdome through turn 6. As we ride on board with the Lexus RCF, the other Lexus in front of him. Atari's not had a great one down the hill, as both Apex drivers covering the inside, not allowing any room for Astro to try and make a move as they climb the hill into Sector 3. Latari's ahead of his Apex teammate Thunderdome, which has Astro behind him, started in 2nd place but is now running in 6th. After contact between him and Kito down at turn 6. And I think just kept it flat out on the grass. We're back on board with the Brit as he looks to try and eye up a move round the outside into the final corner. He's later on the brakes than Thunderdome. He's going to try and hold it round the outside, as I think we have a penalty in the background. Astro will try and get a good run down the start-finish straight and try and challenge into turn 1. We're back on board with Astro once again. But a bit of a slipstream frames forming in towards the first corner. He's going to have a look on the inside, but just backs out of it. The fronts, who have begun to pull away from Hollywood in 3rd place, which is leading the Apex train as they make their way through Sector 1 and up the hill through the Technical S's section for the 3rd time out of the 41 laps of this race. But the front two separated by less than 0.4 of a second. It's Skyline leading Kito going down the hill through turn 7. The German ahead of the Italian. Skyline starting on pole position. He's held his advantage in the early stages of this race. It's Hollywood, Latari and Thunderdome, Apex in 3, 4 and 5 Astro trying to find a way past Thunderdome, who loses at the rear on the exit of turn 10. Has a huge tank slapper. Can he keep the position though? Here comes Astro looking for a move on the inside. Wack trying to get involved in this battle for 5th place as well. Astro unsuccessful in that attempt, but will have another go down the hill in towards turn 13. It's pretty rare you see a move down here. It's all about setting yourself up for the final corner. Thunderdome ran a little bit wide through turn 14 as Astro looks to send it on the inside. He does. Late on the brakes and down the inside. Keeps it nice and tight to the inside curb. Leaves Thunderdome plenty of room on the outside. They're going to run side by side down the start finish straight. The two Lexus RCFs in the battle for 5th place. It's Apex against Pegasus. It's Astro on the outside into turn 1. Can he go the long way round? Apex will try and hold it on the inside, but they still remain door to door. Once they get past turn 1 though, into 2, it's Astro ahead of Thunderdome. And now up into the top 5. Thunderdome will try and fight this one back down the hill into turn 6, where Astro went off on the opening lap. But this time round there's no dramas from these two. Astro now securing 5th place, but he does dip a wheel into the grass. Keeps the car though in a straight line. Has just over a second to the other Apex drivers in front of him, but he's shown what pace he has in qualifying. Off goes Thunderdome and Astro across the turn 8, 9 and 10 chicane. They are lucky not to get any penalties, but a loss of position for Thunderdome. Wack's gone by and up into 6th place. Fracas is looking to try and capitalise, whilst Thunderdome's tyres are still a little bit dirty. But as the grass and the gravel clears from the tyres, I think Thunderdome will get back up to racing speed as the top 2 begin to pull away from the rest of the pack. Separated by 0.8 of a second, Kyoto is keeping up with Skyline. They were only separated by 0.4 in qualifying. Only 0.8 out on the racetrack. It's Skyline that leads from Swordsman and Hollywood in the top 3. Natari in 4th place is keeping up with his Apex teammates and both running the medium compound tyre. Thunderdome, the only one of the Apex drivers to do something different at the start, and you can already see the wear to that front right hand tyre after 5 laps of racing here at Kyoto. They really do damage the front rights. Kito's made a mistake. He's ran a little bit wide. He's in the barrier. He's picked up damage to the front right of the car. He overcooked it. Similar to Astroff, I think he just tried to get back on the track too quick, too soon, and in doing so lost the rear on the grass, and it's resulted in him losing about 2 seconds of lap time and damage to his suspension and aerodynamics. And just as he caught up to the back of Skyline, he now has to, all that hard work has been undone and will have to reset and go again. Behind them, Latari has gotten past Hollywood, the 2 Apex drivers swapping positions. I'm not sure whether that was orchestrated or not, only they will know. But what it has done, it's brought Astro in this fight for a podium position. 3 drivers separated by about a second as they run nearly 7 seconds behind the race leader. As Kito's damage is repaired, he can now start the charge for that 2.6 second gap that's now opened up to Skyline, who's leading the race, having started from pole position. We're 6 laps into this 40 lap 1 race at Kyoto, and the action is not going anywhere on the racetrack. We've got different strategies in play. Some drivers on the medium, some drivers on the soft. I think later on we might even see the hard compound tyres. It could be a 2, possibly 3 stop here tonight. No, I'm thinking the tyre wear's on ×5. It's not, it's on ×2. ×5 is on the setting for the Monday Group 3 League. So maybe we won't see the hard compound tyres, but we might see more of the medium rather than the red stripe soft. Drivers opted to go long because we can already see after less than 10 minutes of racing they're already 50% won on the car that's leading the race in the name of Skyline. 2.2 seconds is the gap to Kito in second. That gap is coming down. And behind them, Fracas and Thunderdome going side by side. Look at the state of their front tyres. They might even be into the pits at the end of lap 6. And we've got 41 laps of racing, so if you only use the soft compound tyre, it's going to be a 4 or a 5 stop for these guys. But up front, something's happened to Skyline. He's off. He's in the wall. Our race leader, the pole sitter, has dropped it at the final corner. No, he hasn't. He's dropped it sooner. He's dropped it on the exit at turn 14. He's facing the wrong direction. Oh, no. It's a terrible rejoin onto the racing line. I'm sure who he collected. I think it was Vatari. But the pole sitter drops down into 9th place. I think the stewards might have a look at that one. I think they will certainly have a look at that. Cars in pit lane, off of the soft compound tyres. Kyoto made the first mistake. Skyline made the second. It's now the Italian that leads the Japanese Grand Prix. But you've got to make a decision when you're Skyline. It's one of those, you're in the middle of the track, you're facing the wrong way. Do you spin it back right? Do you spin it back left? And unfortunately, he went right. Skyline went right. Latari went left, and they collided on the racing line. The German now has work to do. He's 20 seconds off the new race leader after Skyline dropped it on the exit of this very corner. I thought it was the final corner. He might have even dropped it a second time, having lost a little bit more lap time down in 9th place. He's making his way past Lord Hans for 7th place. Or in fact, he's trying to get past, but it's really tricky to make an overtake down into turn 13. Astro comes into the pits, the first of the front runners. Thunderdome came into the pits from 8th place. These guys stay out for another lap. Here comes Skyline looking for a move on Lord Hans down towards the first corner. Is he close enough? He's going to send it down the inside. He's late on the brakes and he's got the move done up into the top 5. But we do have drivers in pit lane refueling and changing tyres. It's mediums for Astro, mediums for Fracas, and I think it'll be mediums for Thunderdome. Indeed, it is. Kyoto's doing a really good job in that McLaren to keep the soft tyres in shape. The McLaren, of course, is pretty good as a car at conserving its tyres, and it's showing that tonight. Some drivers only able to go 6-7 laps on the softs. Kyoto looks like he could do an extra lap or 2 as he's about to finish lap 8 with a 5-second lead over Hollywood in second. Back now into the top 3, and it's going to be very interesting to see the likes of Skyline and Astro making their way back through the field after being involved in early incidents in this race. It's a long race tonight. It's 41 laps of the Kyoto driving park, the Yamagiwa configuration. Astro went off on the opening lap at turn 6, and Skyline had his incident a few laps ago down at turn 14. But the top 4 stay out for another lap. Skyline's into the pits from 5th. Lord Hans stays out for another lap. Astro will jump the pole sitter. But because the Kyoto cameraman's a bit asleep there, he's looking at his bird watching at the trees as Latari's picked up a time penalty, 1 second. She will serve at the penalty gate, located I believe at the exit of the final corner in the run up to the start finish line. And because the tyre wear here is so high, and we've seen it so many times before in the past, when we have pit stops, that often increases the gap between many drivers, and as so you can see in the top right, everyone is separated out on the racetrack. There's a couple of drivers relatively close together, but not quite close enough to go for a move. The gap between Latari and Wack is about to increase as the South African will serve a 1 second time penalty on the exit of the final corner. You can see the yellow bar above his name indicating that he will be slowing down to serve that penalty. I'm not sure where he's picked that up. I'm assuming somewhere in the first sector. There we go. He slows down for a second. Ends up being a 2 second time penalty, 1.5 seconds lost. Somewhere in that region, just because of the momentum you lose compared to the cars around you braking suddenly for a second. The gap out in front has increased to nearly 6 seconds. It's currently at 5.9. Kyoto is on the softs, Hollywood on the medium, so we'll be interested to see how the strategy unfolds in that battle for what is now the lead of the race. Astro in 6th is closing in on Lord Hans for a space in the top 5. The Nexus closing down on, not sure what car is it. Is that the Jag, the Mazda? It's the Mazda. I can hear it now, but a great one from Astro. He pulls over to the left hand side of the circuit. It's the right hand side of your screen. He's late on the brakes. He's down the inside and he's up into 5th place, but runs 25 seconds off the leader, but has made a pit stop. He pitted on lap 7, 3 laps ago, and the pit lane isn't a particularly long one here tonight. You can see it there on the left hand side as Kyoto comes into the pit from the lead of the race. I imagine Hollywood will stay out on those mediums. Wack will follow him down the start finish straight. As Kyoto is serviced, the old tyres go off, the new ones go on. Fuel goes into the back of the McLaren and he's released back out onto the racetrack ahead of Astro. But what is the gap? The gap will be covered down as Astro has the momentum from the final corner, but as it begins to stabilise through turn 1, it's about 4 seconds between the drivers that started in 2nd and 3rd. They're now 4th and 5th, but the front 3 haven't pitted. You can see the time Atari lost serving that penalty, 1 minute 39 on the last lap. He might have made a mistake as well, because he's now 5.2 seconds behind the Wack. Maybe he picked up another penalty. That will be costly between now and the end of the race. Gap out in front, 2.6 seconds. It has come down slightly over the last couple of laps. It was closer to 3. It's just over 2.5 seconds. It is the closest battle out on track. Maybe this one for 9th place between the two Misfits drivers. Lord Hans ahead of O2 Point. The Misfits drivers have opted for some different car selections this season on their debut season. The Mazda, I believe the Jag was used in one of the last couple of races. I think Monza, someone was racing the Jag, I'm not too sure who it was. Wack though is into the pits in the McLaren, which seems to be a popular car choice this season. Car number 32 exits the pits. We've got a car off. It's Lord Hans down at turn 13. He spun it before the corner, so he's lost it on entry. Is a different wheel on the grass, maybe? I think he did. He's lost it on the inside of turn 13, straight into the barrier. It's a big crash for the Brit, who now runs at the back of the pack in 10th place. But on lap 12 of 41, it's an apex 1-2 as things stand. The gap 8.8 seconds between the two drivers. Kyoto in 2nd place is the leading driver to have made a stop in this race. Astro 5.6 seconds behind. Thunderdome and Fracas now going side by side. I think there was a mistake from Thunderdome. Let's give it a listen and ride on board. It's very similar to what happened to Astro at the early stages of the race. Eager to put your foot down, open the steering through turn 6, running wide onto the grass and keeping the foot flat to the floor and losing the rear on the exit as you rejoin with dirty tyres. And it's cost him a position to fracas. He now runs in 7th place. Skyline's closed that gap as a result to 1.6 seconds. So we're approaching the 1/3 mark in this race. On lap 13 of 41. As you can see by the minimap, the drivers are beginning to space themselves out as different strategies come into play. Some drivers opting to start on the mediums and stay out a little bit longer, some putting in more fuel than others, some going for softs, others going for the mediums. So our race leader, Hollywood, leads an Apex 1-2 with his teammate Atari in second. Kyoto running in 3rd place. He's only 10 seconds off the leader and has made a pit stop as Hollywood comes into the pits. Hollywood is in from the lead with off the medium tyres. Latari might follow him in, and he stays out. So Apex drivers doing something a little bit different. They've already altered the strategy with Thunderdome starting on the softs. This could be quite close with Astro making his way down the start-finish straight, but will get ahead of Hollywood. Wax making his way through the final corner. Fuel still going into the back of Hollywood's car. We ride on board with Wax, and you're about to see a car emerge from the left-hand side out of the pit lane, and with the momentum, Wax going to try and go round the outside in towards turn 1. He runs wide onto the marbles. Hollywood, though, with cold tyres, leaving the pit lane just enough to stay ahead of the Brit as they make their way through through turn 2 up the hill. It's Hollywood ahead of Wack, but the Brit has the tyres up to temperature. Is he going to look to try and do something down the hill in towards turn 6? But Hollywood has done enough to stay ahead as he leaves the pit lane. As he left the pit lane just ahead of Astro. As we're about to watch this battle for 7th place between the pole sitter and Thunderdome. Skyline on the outside and towards turn 1. This is how he made the move up into 7th place. Thunderdome has the inside line. Skyline's going to have to work it the long way around. He keeps his foot in and swoops around the outside of the Lexus. Moves up into 7th place. They nearly run side by side up the hill. But it's Skyline ahead by 1.5 seconds. Latari, the last driver to come into the pits from 3rd place. That means Astro is now into second, 9.2 seconds, sorry, off the race leader. Latari comes out of the pits behind the fracas as he drops down into 6th and only 7 tenths ahead of Skyline. Closest battle on the track is the battle for 6th place. Only 6 tenths separating Skyline and Latari is the South African racing for the Apex team. Fresh out of the pits on a set of the medium compound tyre. As he chases down Fracas for a space inside the top 5, but he has Skyline filling his mirrors as well. Latari in the BMW is nearly pushing Fracas through turn 12, down the hill for the 15th time tonight, through turn 14. We've still got all 10 drivers in this race, and we're focusing on this battle for 5th place between these three. Fracas, who started this race in 8th place, and Skyline, who started from pole position. How the tables have turned for those two drivers. Going through turn 1 though, there's only a tenth of a second, nearly less than a second between Fracas and Latari. We're on board looking from the rear wing on Fracas's car. He's got Latari fitting the rear view mirrors. Fracas goes defences, but he's left the door open for Latari on the inside. They run side by side. Fracas slots in behind the BMW for now. Skyline looking to try and make a couple of moves in behind as well, going down the hill in towards the turn 8 chicane. Latari moves his way up into 5th place. Skyline nearly pushing the back of Fracas, but Latari's gone wide and off the track. They nearly run 3 wide up the hill. Fracas and Skyline go round the outside of Latari, and a mistake has cost him nearly 2 positions. Skyline looking to go down the inside of Fracas. They go side by side down the hill in towards turn 13 with Fracas on the inside. Skyline will have the inside of a turn 14, and he gets ahead. Contact between Latari and Fracas. The Irishman goes wide and off the track, flashes his lights in frustration. Latari though gets the position. Will he have to give that back, or will the stewards get involved in that contact, which has resulted in Fracas losing the position and getting damage to the front right suspension? And so on lap 17 of 41, it's Kyoto that's in the lead of this race, ahead of Astro in second. And we got a car off in the midfield. It's Skyline. Skyline has dropped it. The pole sitter today goes from bad to worse. After he dropped it at turn 14, someone in front of him has got all sorts of out of shape. The tyres screeching at the Thunderdome in front. He's picked up a time penalty as well. But what happened to Skyline? Let's ride on board and give it a listen. And we've seen so many drivers making that mistake tonight. Running wide through turn 6 and ending up in the barrier. Some have been more fortunate than others. Thunderdome though is about to concede the position to Skyline as he slows down for half a second to serve that penalty. Skyline goes straight through him and up into 7th place. Kyoto has a comfortable lead in this race. It's nearly 12 seconds, running at 11.8. But it shouldn't be taken for granted. We've seen several drivers making mistakes tonight, contact with each other. Anything can now happen between now and the checkered flag. We're not even halfway through this race. And at a track like Kyoto, it's so hard to keep an eye on the different strategies that we have on available tonight. We've got Kyoto on softs, Astro on mediums, Hollywood on fresher mediums, Wack on fresh mediums, as is Latari. Frackerson slightly worn mediums, as is Skyline Thunderdome. Point on very worn softs. He'll be into the pits at the end of this lap. Lord Hands on a fairly fresh set of soft tyres at the back of the pack. Oh, and Kyoto's off. The race leader's lost it, but he keeps it in a straight line. And once again, we are seeing drivers pushing the limits at this track and making mistakes. It's damage to the front suspension and the front bumper on the McLaren 650S. And just as what I said it a lap ago, the gap might be 11.8 seconds, but you can't take it for granted. We've seen many mistakes here tonight. The gap's now down to 10.7 seconds. Closing every second as the damage has just been fixed on Kyoto's car. And is it this night sky, these cold track conditions that are causing so many mistakes? I said it before the drivers have left the pit lane in qualifying, that these cold temperatures could trigger several mistakes, and it's done so before we reach the halfway mark. We're on lap 20 of 41. We're nearly halfway through the Japanese Grand Prix for round 3 of season 5 of the ANR Esports League. So let's update how everything is looking. We've got Kyoto in the lead of the race, but has gotten away with a couple of spins this evening. Not spins, sorry. Collisions with the barrier, notably at turn 6, which has caught a lot of drivers out. Astro 1, who has been caught out by that long swooping left-hander. He's now in second place, having started in second, but it's not been made easy for him. He was 7th on lap 1. It's then the Apex team of Hollywood in second, ahead of Wack for Pegasus in 4th, Atari in 5th, Fax in 6th. Under pressure from Skyline in 7th, who started on pole position. He's late on the brakes and down the inside and moves his way up into 6th place. Fracas is going to try and fight this back as best he can, but Skyline moves up into 6th place as Kyoto comes into the pits from the lead of the race, and will filter back out onto the track just behind Wack Jumps going through turn 1. We'll stay on board with the Italian as he looks to try and get past Wack. Both are on relatively fresh medium compound tyres. Thunderdome's coming into the pits. He's gone onto the hard compound tyre. Could he be going to the end of the race as Wack gets all sorts of out of shape on the exit of turn 9 and 10? That brings Kyoto ever much closer to try and look for a move. He's overshot it. I thought he didn't actually. I thought that was very late on the brakes, but he slowed it down in time. We ride on board with the Italian as he will make their way up the hill into the final corner. Astro's into the pits. He's responding to Kyoto's pit stop as they now ride around the final corner. We're on board with the McLaren 650S inside the cockpit, watching him hunt down Wack going in towards the first corner. for the 22nd time tonight. What tyres did Astro go on to? It's a fresh set of the medium compound tyres going onto that car. Well, I'm not sure, and I don't think the mediums can do 20 laps to the end, so I think we will be expecting to see a couple more pit stops between now and the checkered flag. Kyoto's got a great run up the hill in towards turn 11. Wakdo has the inside line. Kyoto's going to try and swoop it around the outside, and that's a beautiful move from the Italian, trying to make his way back up into the lead of the race. Hollywood's in front of him, 1.7 seconds as he has his eyes on lapped traffic. Lord Hans pulls out of the way. And behind him, Kyoto leads Whack Jumps by less than 9/10 of a second. And you'd think on those fresher medium compound tyres that Kyoto might have the pace to catch up to Hollywood in the next couple of laps. Let's keep you updated on that gap. Lap 23 of 41, it's Hollywood that leads Kyoto with a gap less than a second now as the Italian tries to close it down with those fresh medium tyres. Slightly different lines being taken through turn 12. You can see Hollywood goes quicker on entry, but Kyoto closes that gap back on exit. The definition of slow in, fast out. The gap's already 1.5 seconds to Whack Jumps behind. Throughout the grid, the gap's monumental between these guys at the back. 27 seconds, 30 seconds, 22 seconds. They're all running in no man's land to one another, but that gap out in front now less than a second. Top two closer than they've ever been. Hollywood on a different strategy, as we've seen him do so many times in the past. It has put him in the lead of the race, but for how much longer can he hold on to that position? Where you can see the two different lines being taken by the two drivers there. Kyoto going deeper and wider than Hollywood, which is why I thought he went way too late on the brakes a couple of laps ago, but in fact it's just the line that he's taken through that hairpin. Hollywood defensive to the inside into the final corner. And that defensive run, tightening of the apex, might give Kyoto the run he needs to challenge him towards the first corner. The Aero GT car looking to try and get ahead of the apex driver down towards the first corner. He pulls alongside and ahead by the time they get to the apex of turn 1, and will keep ahead when they get to the exit of turn 1. A brilliant move from Kyoto. He's up into the lead of the race, Skylines into the pits, having started on pole position, abandoning those medium compound tyres. He might still need to make 1 or 2 more pit stops between now and the end of the race. And if you'll excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, for just a couple of seconds, I'm going to refill my water bottle because I drank it all before qualifying. It is like a sauna in my room right now, and my throat is absolutely dying. So just give me 38 seconds. I didn't quite make it back in the 38 seconds, I promise, but we are back and ready to provide you with what's happening on the racetrack. Kyoto's ahead of Hollywood by 1 second as WAC is looking to try and close up that gap to Hollywood in the battle for second place. Of course, these two drivers are on fairly similar strategies, so it will be interesting to see how much Hollywood defends from WAC and how much WAC goes to attack Hollywood. Fracas is in through the pits from 6th place off of the mediums, and I think we'll go on to another set of the mediums. I think those who started on the soft will be using the medium tyre between now and the end of the race, and those who haven't quite used the soft might be waiting for the end of the race but still use that tyre. And that's another tank slapper from WAG. It's not the first time he's done that this evening. I think it might be the 3rd or 4th time we've seen him get a bit out of shape. But going in towards turn 1, that was close between Thunderdome and Fracas. Thunderdome just about getting ahead of the Irishman as Fracas leaves the pits on a fresh set of medium tyres. Black, though, has decided to come into the pits. He didn't have enough fuel to stay out for another lap, but we watched the team refuel the back of that McLaren, and he will be released any second. Back out onto a clean track. It's 60 litres again. These drivers seem to be fueling for the distance of the medium compound tyre. And so, even though, I mean, maybe the night sky and the colder conditions are helping these drivers take these tyres a little bit longer, Fracas is closing in on the back of Thunderdome, having made his pit stop on the last lap. He has a look into turn 1, but isn't quite close enough to send it. These two running close on track in the battle for 7th place. I think Thunderdome will want to try and defend this position, hold up Fracas as much as he can whilst he's on those fresher tyres. Well, that gap is closing as they go down the hill. Fracas once again having a little look, but isn't quite close enough. Kyoto is alerting to the lapped car in front to get out of the way, flashing the lights. This isn't ideal for the race leader, getting the dirty air up the hill. You can see he's lost 2 tenths to Hollywood behind. It is an awkward place to catch a back marker. But fortunately for him, he didn't lose too much time. The gap out in front, 4.2 seconds. It's 1.9 from Hollywood to Latari. The two Apex drivers are running a great race tonight. They're second and third. Oh, dearie me. The commentator's curse couldn't have come at a worse time. Latari is off at turn 14. He's in the barrier and he's lost the position to Astro, who moves his way up into a podium position. I think that was less than 5/10 of a second between me complimenting the team and Astro dropping it like so many have done tonight. We'll get a replay via the race director, and we're on board with the Lexus, the BMW, sorry, let's give it a listen. Don't know if you saw, but he just about floored it whilst he still had a wheel on the grass. That caused the rear to step out, and now he's dropped his Gloucester position into fourth, 9 seconds behind Astroff, 16 seconds behind his teammates. Someone else has lost it down at the final corner. Oh no, what has happened to the Apex team? Was there contact in this battle for 7th place? Thunderdome behind Fracas into the final corner. He just lost it on the exit, too early on the power. Just as I was saying, it was looking like a great day for the Apex team with two drivers in the top three. Two of them drop it in the same lap. Some might be saying 2 down, 1 to go. Hollywood is driving on thin ice, essentially. Has the commentator's curse riding on his shoulders. I'll make sure not to do that again. So, with 12 laps to go, Kyoto leads the Japanese Grand Prix. Ahead of Hollywood in second, Astro now the top three. But I don't think the top three is set in stone. Kyoto won't be going to the end of the race. I think Kyoto's slightly messed up his strategy here. He pitted only 8 laps ago, I think. But he's got no fuel. He's got a lot of life left on those medium tyres. Unless he's going to fuel to pit just for fuel and not change the tyres. Save time that way. Behind, Hollywood will have to change tyres and fuel to the end of the race. I don't think Astro's going to the end. I think Black will be going to the end. He's 34 seconds behind the leader. I'm honestly not sure what order our top three is looking at in the final third of the race. 31 and 41 here at the Japanese Grand Prix. Kyoto Driving Park, Yamagiwa. This 4.9 kilometer circuit has all 10 of our drivers running laps here tonight. The gap out in front between our top two, 8.5 seconds. The gap has gone up by a few tenths as Hollywood negotiates lapped traffic. Not a great day for the pole sitter. Skyline's having a horror of a race in 6th place after dropping the car a couple of times, once at turn 14, the other I think was at turn 6. And the race leader Kyoto is into the pits with 10 laps to go. I'm interested to see whether he will change the tyres or just go for fuel. He does change the tyres. Hollywood follows him in. It's a fresh set of mediums for Kyoto. What's the tyres for Hollywood? Oh no, it's softs for Kyoto. Sorry, softs for Kyoto to end this race. Does Hollywood do the same? Yes, he does. And so Latari will split the two drivers. Astro takes the lead of the race, but I don't know if he's going to the end. And if he is, he's going to be on a lot more Warner tyres than the cars behind him. 8 laps to go, 8 seconds the gap. This could be close if he's going to the end. Stay tuned for a show-stopping end here in Lobby B. For those who aren't watching Lobby A, it's still very close on that one. I think if Astro's going to the end, he's not going to be able to keep the lead from Kyoto. It could be very close if they are. That gap out in front already down to 7.5 seconds. Astro ahead of Kyoto. I don't know though if the Brit's going to the end of the race. Now will be a deciding moment if he pulls into the pits. I think he's committed to staying out. He's been on those tyres for a long time. They're already at 50% worn to the front right. It's going to be tough for him to do the final 9 laps of the race with Kyoto on a fresh set of softs. He will definitely catch him. Lap, I would say 39. It will be when we see Kyoto catch up to the back of Astro. You've also got to keep in mind Hollywood is only 8 seconds behind Kyoto, so the Italian has got to keep it clean and on the track. Otherwise Hollywood will be looking to try and get another position in this race. Latari won't be going to the end from here. He will need to make another pit stop, which could put him quite close out on track to Wack and Skyline. Around about 6th place behind them. The gaps really do open up. 18 seconds to Fracas, 19 seconds to Hollywood, Thunderdome, sorry, 25 seconds to Point and 24 seconds to Lord Tans. Astro lapping Point, and he's lost 2 seconds by doing so. And so maybe Kyoto will have a similar problem in getting past the back marker. But I think the problems are more up front. Those medium tyres are going off, and they're going off fast. Atari calls it quits on the mediums. We'll be going onto a set of the soft compound tyres to finish this race. Where will he emerge? Back out onto the racetrack. It could be in between Wack and Skyline. It might even be behind Skyline. The fuel's going into the back of Latari's car. We're on board. Not that one, that one. We're on board with Skyline in a minute out of the pit. There you can see Latari ahead of the pole sitter going in towards turn 1, but Skyline has the momentum. He has the run from the final corner. But as they get to turn 1, it's Latari who's going to get ahead and stay ahead. And so this battle for 6th place could go on to the checkered flag, but Skyline's on a warm set of softs, Latari on a fresh set, sorry, on a one set of mediums, Latari on a fresh set of softs. And you'd expect the Latari to use that grip to just pull away a car off. Whack is off, and he's been riding those curbs all race long, getting all sorts of out of shape. And on lap 34, he's pushed it a little bit too much and has dropped it. Astro comes into the pits. He's abandoning this strategy, but what happened to Whack? He's 2 wheels on the grass. You can't do that and expect to get away with it. He's off into the barrier. He spins the car back round, but loses 2 positions and down to 6th place. It's a mistake that's been building up all race long, and 55 minutes in, he's cracked. And with Astro coming into the pits, he's on a fresh set of the soft compound tyres. He's got 7 laps to close down, a 4.5 second gap to Hollywood to promote himself up an extra step on the podium. The gap though between the top 2 nearing 11 seconds, 10.9 is the gap. Kyoto, he's made a few mistakes in this race, but none as big as the others behind him. I think every driver tonight at some point has been in the barrier or the grass at some stage of the race. Latari's done well to recover, as does Astro. Skyline as well, as Latari has to make his way past the back marker, which haven't made it easy for drivers tonight. But Kyoto is absolutely flying out on the racetrack. It's a 1:33.1, a new fastest lap of the race. He's 11 seconds clear of Hollywood in second. Astro is gaining on the battle for second place. He's only 3.5 seconds behind with 5 laps to go. He could catch Hollywood by the last lap. Catching's one thing, overtaking is another. Astro is pushing his purple through the first sector. Look at the delta coming down and down every corner they go through. But I'm sure thoughts play in the back of your mind when you've made 1 or 2 mistakes tonight, as Astro has done. You don't push as hard as you could have. You replay the mistakes that you've made in your head, and it can cost you, but it's not costing Astro any time. That gap is coming down, and it's coming down fast. I fear for Hollywood's second place is at risk. He's now only 2.2 ahead, with lap 36 to 41. Race leader Kyoto's about to start lap 37. Atari's been able to just pull away on Skyline with those fresh soft compound tyres. Wack still behind after he made his mistake a few laps ago. Oh, once again, that was close between the back markers and one of the front runners. Apologies if you can hear my squeaky chair in the background of the audio. If you can't, I have a squeaky chair, very squeaky chair actually. But as that gap comes down to less than 2 seconds, Astro is gaining and gaining and gaining. We are now riding on board in the Lexus. I can't actually quite see on the steering wheel what the track temperature is. Usually it says, I think that's 37 degrees. I think that's what that one is. I can't actually see from back here. But in the windshield of the car, you can see the car in front getting closer and closer and closer. The gap nearly within a second. It's 1.1 at turn 12. Hollywood will have to defend hard to secure second place by the end of the race. 5 minutes of racing action there to go, and we're left with this battle for second place. I say it every week, how the strategy opens up in the middle of the race as the drivers try something different, they go for something different compared to each other, but as we enter the closing phases of the race, the strategies converge in on one another. Those who overcut and pit later now have the advantage on the fresher tyres. 6 tenths between Astro and Hollywood in the battle for second place. Astro trying to finish this race where he started after he lost the lead, or after he lost second place down at turn 6 on the opening lap. He's less than 4 tenths behind the car in front in securing that second place position. Hollywood's tyres are shot through the roof. They've not only fallen off the cliff, but they've jumped off the cliff and they've disintegrated on the ground. Nearly contact between the two as they go through turn 8, 9, now turn 10. It's Hollywood ahead of Astroff, but for how much longer? Less than a tenth of a second separate the two as they go side by side into turn 12. Hollywood squeezing Astro to the inside. He's going to try and hold it on the outside. He does so beautifully in the M6. But can Hollywood hold on to the end of the race? I'm not sure those softs are going to make it. He's wide through turn 14 and defensive through 15. Astro's going to try and work it all the way round the outside. He warrants enough space round the outside, and he's done it. He's up into second place. That was a beautiful move from the Brits. One worth watching on repeat. We're looking behind the BMW. You can see how much later he brakes, and in a second he's alongside, and before you know it, he swoops ahead up into second place. I think Hollywood now has to focus on getting those softs to the end, otherwise he could lose the position to his teammate, but I don't think he will be too bothered about that. It's points for your team as opposed to the driver. Watt comes into the pits late on in the race for an attempt at the fastest lap. He had the gap to do it. It's worth sending it, so you're only going to gain an extra point if you're not losing anything. Kyoto is on the last lap of the Japanese Grand Prix here at Kyoto, and I need to be careful about what I say next, because the last time I complimented a team, 2 of their 3 drivers went off. Kyoto, he's got a gap, he's got 15 seconds to Astro. He just needs to bring this home at the end of this race. Skyline is into the pits and an attempt of the fastest lap. I think he has the gap to Whack. I think it shouldn't take 18 seconds to come into the pits, get serviced for a fresh set of boots and leave. Yeah, you can see he's already out of the pit lane. So we've got 2 attempts for the fastest lap. Skyline and Whack will give it their best shot to take points away from Kyoto. Target time is 1:33.1. They are to beat it. But you can see on the mini-map the drivers are just spaced. It looks almost like a practice session on the mini-map, but that's not to discredit the drivers this evening. They have been absolutely wonderful tonight. They've given us so much on-track action, drama as well. But this track has warranted lots of individual mistakes, whether it's the high technical nature of the circuit or the track temperature causing cold tyres to not work their magic, and as such promoting a couple more mistakes. Usually you'd end that segment by complimenting the race leader and saying that they've not made any mistakes in tonight, but that isn't true. Every one of these drivers, I think, has been off at some point, apart from maybe one or two. Latari was involved in an incident that wasn't his fault. Skyline rejoining the circuit rather unsafely in the exit of turn 14, but bar that, I think maybe Hollywood. Can't think of a time that they've had an off. Kyoto, though, he had a few offs, but he's put that behind him. And he said, you know what, I lost that time, I'm going to put that behind me and work even harder to work back the time that I've lost. And he's done that absolutely beautifully. He didn't start on the front row of the grid, but he quickly made himself up into the front running positions. He rounds the final corner for the final time here at Kyoto. It's Kyoto for Aero GT. In the long run up to the line, he will win the Japanese Grand Prix here at Kyoto Driving Park by 17 seconds to Astro in second, who done a beautiful job to recover through the field after he went off on the opening lap, was running in 8th. He's worked his way back up to where he started. He flashes his lights across the line to finish in second. We could have a photo finish between the two Apex drivers. Which one will finish on the podium? It's Hollywood ahead of Latari. Hollywood's got a puncture to the front right. He didn't quite take it to the end of the race, but he did beat his teammate to the podium. Apex in second and in third and fourth. They could be happy with that. Skyline from pole position has had a tricky race and is going for an extra point in the fastest lap. Will he be able to get that extra point as he goes up to the line? It's going to be close, but he misses out by 700ths of a second. Wax also on a fastest lap attempt, but I think one that was slightly hindered by the back marker of Lord Hands that finishes in 10th place. Fracas will cross the line in 7th place. And Thunderdome, who's had quite an eventful race but setting consistent lap times as of late. The hard compound tyres hasn't quite worked for Thunderdome. He tried something different for the other from the other Apex drivers. Apologies. But I will cross the line in 8th place, ahead of Points and Lord Hands, who finished a lap down. And there you have it. It's Kyoto who wins the Kyoto Driving Park Yamagiwa race. He was victorious on lap 41 of 41. Here is a rundown of your race results then for round 3 of season 5. Kyoto wins with the fastest lap, maximum points for him, ahead of Astro in second, and Hollywood rounding out the top 3 ahead of his teammate Latari in 4th. Skyline from pole down to 5th. Not a great day from him. Whack in 6th, Fracas in 7th, Thunderdome in 8th. Behind him, Point in 9th, and Lord Hands rounding out the top 10. That has been the all the action from round 3 here at Kyoto Yamagiwa in the ALR Esports League. My name was Nathan. I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. Apologies, it wasn't one of my best. I am fully aware of that, but I will be back better for next week's race at Road Atlanta, where we have 50 laps ahead of you then. Quite a long race and a relatively short circuit. Traffic might be an issue, but I'm sure the overtaking and the racing action will be on par as ever. Stay tuned next week to see how these drivers fare, who makes it into Lobby A and who from Lobby A might be demoted to Lobby B. We'll have to wait and see. I'll see you guys next time.